Hi everyone, Tyler Manion here, NPC and IFBB Pro League Vice President. This will be your Mr. Olympia recap for the bikini division. So for the bikini division, this was definitely a very tough show to judge. A lot of girls, I think, did not come in at their best at this show, which obviously that made it harder to judge for sure. Personally, I think this is a very, very important video for me to make because I just want to make sure that everybody's going in the right direction where we're supposed to be heading with the bikini criteria. So I'll go through each of the top 4 girls and point out some strengths and weaknesses and then kind of give a review on that. So in first place, we had Maureen. Obviously, Maureen brings great balance with her physique. Maureen has very, very good presentation as well. Probably the best presentation on stage. She obviously has a nice hourglass shape to her physique from the front. Some good balance between the upper and the lower body. From the back, in the back pose, I think Maureen's glutes in the back pose themselves are solid. However, conditioning wise, not just in the back, but overall, I think Maureen was a little bit on the soft side. I also think that she didn't have the proper depth to her glutes from the front pose even a little bit, but really specifically from the back pose, especially you could tell when she did her walk to the back, the glutes kind of went a little bit too flat. I think this is obviously you can use a little bit more depth to the glutes, but also an issue because she was a little bit soft conditioning wise. Overall though, obviously she had very good presentation, and because of her presentation and her overall balance, she ended up in first place. In second place, we had Ashlyn. Now for Ashlyn, I think her conditioning was spot on, especially from the back. In the front, she's a little bit, just a touch hard in the midsection in the front pose, but the conditioning everywhere else, I think was spot on, whether it was in the lower body, upper body, besides the midsection. The conditioning was spot on. For Ashlyn, again, she exhibits very good balance. For me, I think she can still use just a touch more to her legs to balance it out with her glutes. And then you can see she needs a little bit more upper glute fullness. Again, this is evident when transitioning on stage and especially when doing the bikini walk to the back. In third place, we had Jasmine. Jasmine brought a very good look to the stage. The things for Jasmine were from the back, I think she was just a touch soft. So, and when I say a touch, I would say if we're going at 100%, she was at about a 98 to 99% conditioning wise. However, you could still see her tie-ins from the back, and her glutes still stayed full and looked solid when she did her walk to the back. When it comes to the front pose, for me, Jasmine just needs to add a touch more to her front pose because she has to flare her lat just a tiny bit too much in this front pose. The hourglass shape should look just a little bit more natural, which means you just need to have naturally a little bit more there so it doesn't look a little bit forced, which is what it does to exhibit that hourglass shape in the front pose. So just, I would say that for the front pose, obviously the conditioning, just a hair tighter in the back. But again, overall, the amount of muscle that she had and the overall balance, this is what we want to see in bikini. In fourth place, we had Amy. Really for Amy, I think from the back, she was in very good condition. Her glutes stayed full, whether it was in the back pose or doing the walk to the back. In the front pose, I think her front pose was not bad. It was upper body wise. It could have been angled, I think just slightly a little bit better. But really for Amy, I think she was in the right condition for sure for bikini, but she just didn't have quite that pop that we've seen from her before. And really that pop happens when you're in that 100% right condition in bikini. When you nail that bikini conditioning, I'm sure if you watch the division, everything else, you know when someone has that pop to their physique, it's because they nailed it. So while her conditioning is what we want to see in bikini, she just didn't quite have that pop to her physique to give her that look. But overall, other than that, I think she brought a very balanced look to the stage. Again, her leg and glute balance has gotten a lot better over the years. Nothing is too dense on her and nothing is too muscular. So when it comes to the size of what we want to see in bikini, I think that all these top 4 girls did a very good job. Now, personally, when I'm looking at these top 4, you can see the difference in the back poses on second, third, and fourth place compared to first place. I think the conditioning that second through fourth displayed is the conditioning that is needed in bikini. And of course, with bikini, we are looking at the criteria for their physiques. And then of course, obviously, your presentation and your overall stage presence and look comes into play. A lot of the judging panel, they took that into account. And obviously, like I said, Maureen's physique is very balanced and it's polished, and that's why she ended up winning. But there's no change to the criteria in bikini. So that conditioning that you saw, especially in the back pose, in Ashlyn, in Amy, and in Jasmine too, even though she was just a hair soft, that is where you should be looking at for the conditioning for this division. So again, it just shows we have a panel at the Olympia. There's 11 of us. It's all people that head judge throughout the world. We're trying to follow the criteria as closely as possible, but it is possible to decipher that criteria just a little bit different from person to person and judge to judge. But as it stands, the conditioning in bikini is not changing. What we've done for the last 4 or 5 years is exactly the conditioning that we want to see moving forward. But all 4 of these top girls, when it comes to the amount of development and balance that they have, is what we are looking for the division. I'm going to review 5th and 6th place as well. In 5th place, we had Ashley. For me, Ashley's conditioning was just a little bit off from what we normally see with her. I also think you can see she was kind of trying to pull a little bit of a slight vacuum in her front pose, but you could see a little bit of distension in her lower stomach, in her lower abdomen. And then from the back, because I think she was just a touch soft, you didn't quite see that same pop to her glutes that we're used to seeing from her. And I think it just made her back pose just a little bit weaker than normal and weaker than these girls in the top 4. In 6th, we had Lauralee. Obviously, Lauralee was the defending champion. Really, the main thing for Lauralee was she was just off when it comes to conditioning in the lower body. She was just too far off of what we need to see the girls at, and that's why she ended up where she did. So to wrap this up, I think it was a very tough Olympia to judge. We've seen a lot of athletes better than what they presented here, and just to stress again, the conditioning that we want to see, definitely look to the girls that I had mentioned, but the top 4, the overall balance and look is what we want to see in bikini, and they did do a good job with that.